Okay, so I'm going to explain a few things. Difference between bagged and bagless vacuum cleaners. Now, bagless vacuum cleaners have become very popular. A lot of people think, oh, you just, take off the canister and you dump it, and that's more convenient. In some cases, it is more convenient, but I will say that there are generally more inconveniences when it comes to bagless vacuum cleaners. And what that is usually you have to clean them out more often. Usually they clog up a little easier. They tend to not filter as well. They tend to struggle to keep dirt and dust out of the motor, which is important. The cleaner you can keep your machine and your motor, the longer it tends to last. Now, I want to talk about a few things. This is a standard Bissell bagged upright vacuum cleaner. Now, it can be a canister vacuum cleaner or an upright vacuum cleaner. Doesn't matter. There's bagged and bagless of both. The bag, you can generally just pull off, seal up that hole with tape, throw it away, and put a fresh bag in. And bags tend to last longer than filters, and they tend to last, longer than filling up the canister. Dirt usually can get compressed in the bag, and it can hold a lot more, which in turn gives you a little bit more capacity, or in some cases a lot more capacity. But also, there's not a whole lot of dust inside. Because everything goes into the bag first, not very much, and sometimes nothing at all, goes into the rest of the machine. As long as you use the correct bags, as long as you use a bag all the time in your bagged vacuum cleaner. This filter down here, as long as you keep a bag in the machine and you change your bag when it's full, you most likely won't have to touch this filter or clean it. And so the bag is your first line of defense in terms of keeping stuff out of the motor. A couple examples that I usually give people is, how you change your furnace filter every couple months? Well, it's the same thing with these bagged vacuum cleaners. You're going to change that bag about every 1 to 3 months on average, but depending upon your household and depending upon the type of machine you have, the size of the bags, you can go up to 6 months on a bag. This machine right here, this is a Kirby. Now, Kirby's have absolutely massive bags. This one, these Kirby's, I can get 6 months out of a bag easy. Now it depends on you know, your household. It depends on how many people you have, whether you have pets, whether you don't have pets. Um, just many different factors. Um, but generally, the bagged vacuum cleaners are just going to be cleaner, for one, because you don't have to clean out filters, you don't have to clean out the canister, and you don't have dust like out in the open and exposed when you go to dispose of it. And usually a package of bags can range on the low end from like $5 for like 3 of the basic cheap bags up to $20 for a bigger pack or maybe a little bit higher quality bags. But most likely you will only have to buy bags once a year. And you usually have to buy a filter for a bagless vacuum cleaner once a year anyway, for most of them, for maybe the same price or even more. So there's a little bit more of an inconvenience in bagless vacuum cleaners. They're not necessarily bad, but they're just not the best if you're really concerned about having a clean home, if you're really concerned about not having to clean stuff out, not having to mess around with stuff, because the cleanup on a bag vacuum cleaner is very, very minimal. You just pull the bag out, you throw it in the trash. You may just wipe the inside with a dry cloth to get just the fine dust off. And then you put a fresh bag in and you're done, you know. Whereas a bagless vacuum cleaner, you take off the canister, you dump it, kind of shake it, try and get all the stuff that's stuck in there out. And then eventually you gotta clean out the filter, and then you may have to wash out the canister because it may get stinky and it may, you know. So yeah, I mean, you can get what you want, you know. If you have to go bagless, though, I will say try to avoid the cheap ones if you can, especially if it's going to be your primary machine. Try to go for a mid-range type of bagless vacuum cleaner, and I recommend a lot of bagless vacuum cleaners from Hoover, the Hoover Rewind vacuum cleaners, the whole house vacuum cleaners, elite vacuum. I mean, there's just a bunch of names, but generally, if you want a bagless vacuum cleaner, I would look at Hoover. They're generally set up better. They're a little bit easier to maintain. They don't clog up as easily. If you have a lot of money and you want a bagless vacuum cleaner, then I would say Dyson is probably the best. But if you don't have all that much money, I would say Hoover is probably going to be the best bang for your buck with bagless vacuum cleaners. But then again, you still have that maintenance. You still have to clean it out. And then, what a bagged vacuum cleaner actually does for you is it protects the motor. Because everything goes into the bag first, nothing ever goes into the motor, which means your motor will be cleaner, which means your motor is going to last longer, which means it's not going to block off airflow to the motor to cool the motor, which in turn makes your vacuum cleaner last longer. So if you don't want to think about a lot of maintenance for your vacuum cleaner, that is a huge incentive to go bagged. And I will say that if you are buying a vacuum cleaner in a higher price range and you're paying like 500, 6, 7, 8, $900,000 on a vacuum cleaner, it makes more sense to buy a bagged unit. Now this is a cheap bagged unit, and this is a pretty expensive one. But especially if you are spending a lot of money and you're buying in a high price range, it makes more sense to go back because it's just going to be a better quality machine. It's going to last longer, and you are going to get that return on investment time and time again. And like I said, it's just easy. You just pop out the bag, you throw it away, and you buy a new one. You get a new one out of a pack. And I want you to think about this. Most of us buy trash bags for our kitchen trash cans at home, right? Have you ever thought about, oh, well, I just don't want to buy bags, so I'm just gonna not use bags in my trash cans? How messy would that be? That would be quite a mess, and you would have to clean it out all the time. You'd have to take it outside with the garden hose, wash it, and everything. That'd kind of be a pain in the butt, right? It's no different with a vacuum cleaner. So, again, I'm not saying that bagless vacuum cleaners are bad or that you shouldn't buy a bagless vacuum cleaner, but I'm just trying to help people understand some of the downsides of a bagless vacuum cleaner because, it seems like these days, nobody's really interested in bagged vacuum cleaners, and they don't realize what the benefits are. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. Bye-bye.